Alright guys, welcome back to part 2 of the Let's Make a Game tutorial series. In the previous tutorial we set up the project for Windows at the moment. We just set it up for Windows. We'll set it up for Android and iOS in a few more episodes. Let's just get a base game going. When we do that, we can get everything moving and carry on. So first things first, we're going to have to remove this sphere from here. We're going to set up the scene just so our player can run around in. Then what we're going to do is we're going to no, let's delete this floor. Let's go into geometry, add a simple box, click on this little arrow, it will reset it back to 0, 0, 0. Change the dimensions to about 5,000 by 5,000. That'll give us a nice big little area to run around on. And let's give it, make a new material. I'm going to go like this. Going to, under levels, we're going to go in here, go materials. Just so we can see what the material looks like, we're going to create a new material. Let's call this level floor. Save. Open it up. Drag this base color out. Constant. 3 vector. Click on this constant. Let's make it a nice little green. Green. Perfect. Darken it up. Make it more grassy. Save. Drag this onto the actual level. And for some reason it's not. There we go. Apply. Save. Drag it out. And now we have a green floor. True, it is very shiny. So what we're going to do is we're going to go roughness. Add a constant. And the roughness will be 1. Because we don't want it to be sparkly. We want it to be matte. Okay, saved. It is now more matte, which is perfect. So what we're going to do is, because it's going to look weird in this angle, in a orthographic angle, what we're going to do is we're going to click to no, that is fine. We're going to add some more boxes so that we can actually see the difference in things. So we're going to expand their X and Y. There we go. Let's make this 1000 by 1000. Keep it at 200 height. Press N to drop it onto the nearest floor. And then we're going to move this and change this color a little bit. So we'll do a new material. Call this level floor 1. Just to do that, we're going to make a new constant 3 vector, constant roughness of 1. We could make this a little bit more shiny if you wanted to, but I'm just going to keep it as matte. Make this another green, but just make it a lot darker, just so that we can actually see the difference in the levels. Because the camera is going to be pointing at this angle, we won't need to be doing the back of anything, so it will just be there, there, and there. This will be able to cast shadows, so what we'll do is we'll actually, if you hold Alt and drag, you can actually make more blocks. So what we're going to do is I'm going to undo that as well. I'm going to, underneath this grid, this is your, when it snaps to. So I'm going to set this to 500 units. So now it will snap every 500. I'm going to hold Alt, I'm going to drag. So there we go, 500 units, 500 units. You could set it to 1,000, but if you want to be more precise in certain things, you might want to stay at 500. Now, I'm just randomly setting up a quick level just for us to run around in and test things. There we go. Just something nice and quickly to go by. There we are. Extend that a little. This is nothing too important. This is more of a Just test. Alright, next what we're going to do is we are going to grab the player start and we're actually going to put him somewhere here. Just here. Let's see. So when we press play, we'll be put into this area. Perfect. What we're going to do now is we're going to click on build. This will actually add shadows into our level. Alright, that now is rebuilding, compiling the shaders. We'll let that compile while we create the next few things. So we're going to go back into content. Then we're going to go into the content browser, right click, new folder, create a new folder called blueprints. Oops, I do not know how to type like a normal English person. Alright, I'm going to open it up, we're going to right click, and we're going to create a new blueprint class. We're going to create a couple of things. So we're going to first create a game mode. We're going to call this roller main game mode. Save that. I'm going to create another blueprint class, player controller, roller main player controller. Then we're going to create another, oh, sorry about that, I created a level by accident. Delete. And a new blueprint class. Whoa. We created a game mode, we created a player controller, now we need a character. Now, a character, there's a difference. So, an actor is anything that can be placed in a scene. Now, a pawn is a type of actor that can move. And a character is a type of actor that is pawn, but at the same time, it can be taken control of. So what we're going to do is we're going to create this new character. We're going to name him Roller Character BP. So that's now the blueprint for our character. We're going to quickly drag this up. Okay, we're going to change this back up to 10. I'm going to drop him down. We're going to save the level. And we're going to double click to open up the Roller Character BP. So first things first, we're going to click on this mesh. Because we're not using a skeletal mesh, which is a mesh with bones, we're actually going to scroll down. We're going to, underneath rendering, we're going to untick visible, and we're going to tick hidden in game. We're going to save. Then we're going to add a component. We're going to add a static mesh. You could add a sphere straight on, but because we already have a player mesh, we're going to add a static mesh because you can add any sort of player mesh you want. You can make him an oval if you wanted to and add animations, but I'm just making a circle because it's going to be quicker. I can get through this whole thing much quicker and we can go for it. So this we're going to call player mesh. I'm going to save. I'm going to click on this player mesh. We're going to scroll back up. We're going to click on this none, and then we're going to look for player because that's what we named it, right? Player mesh. There we go. It already has its texture assigned to it. We can make it a little bit smaller. Click on this lock, change this to 0.6 maybe. That will make the ball a little bit smaller if you want. Or keep it at 0.8. I like 0.8. 0.8 is nice. Then what we're going to do is we're going to take this capsule component and we're going to then shrink it just enough to cover our ball. So 41 and 41, we're going to change that so the whole ball is covered. I'm going to save and compile. So now that we have created the main character and his collision, which is what we need, we are then going to, under the graphs. So a graph is a way that it's basically a class that controls the character. So right now we have an event graph. So we're going to leave the event graph as is for now. We're going to create a new graph and we're going to call this one input graph. So input graph will handle all of our inputs. Duh. Alright, so we're going to compile, we're going to right click, we're going to say, okay, so how you move around in here is left click, select, left click, drag. You're going to box select, right click, you're going to move around. So what we're going to do is right click, create a new node. A node is a piece of code. So a node that we need right now is forward, because if you remember from previous episode, we named our axis event forward. So what forward does is, it now, whenever we push W or we push up on the gamepad or the touch control, it's going to say it is now going to trigger axis move forward. So what we're going to do here is we're going to then say add movement input, which is then going to allow you to move your character. Now, how do we know where to move it? World direction tells us where our character is currently facing. So if I'm facing 25 degrees north and I want to move forward, I want to move 25 degrees north in the forward direction, correct? Yes. Alright, so what we're going to do, we're going to right click. Now each character, that's why we use a character, because it has a specific component. It has a character movement component. That movement component knows exactly which way you're facing. So what we're going to do is we're going to say get character control. Why am I not seeing it? Get character. Sorry. Get player, because you are the player, and then we're going to need controller. Let's get the player controller. Then we're going to drag this return value out, because that's what it's giving us. So you say, please get me the character controller. The system then says, all right, here's the character controller. What do you want to do with it? So what we want is we want to get the forward vector. So we're going to try and keep this minimal, but also nice and organized. So the forward vector tells the game where our character is facing right now. Scale, this axis value is then saying which way. Show you. So here we said for W scale is 1, S is -1. So now it's saying which way is the character facing? That way. Then which way do you want to move? Do you want to move backwards or forwards? That's why we have the two buttons there. So the axis value tells you, okay, I want to move in this direction. Please take me there. So what we're going to do is, I'm just quickly organizing. You can drag these little nodes individually to make them more acceptable looking. If you have a little bit of an OCD problem, then you can do that. Then what you're going to do is you're going to click on add movement input. You're going to hold control on your keyboard. You're going to press W. That's going to clone, well, it's going to duplicate your code. What you're going to do then is you're going to right click, axis right, and you're going to click enter, because that's what we named our move left and right axis. So now we're going to move this down. This character control, this player controller can be used again. So what we're going to do now is here is get right vector, because forward and right are your positives while left and back are negatives. So we're going to add it into the world direction. The scale value can go here from the axis right, and what that does is it allows us to move left and right. So first of all, we're going to compile. Now we can press play, but this is what's going to happen. Right now, nothing is going to happen. We can still move however we want. There's no stuff to jump on, but nothing else can be done. So what we have to do is let's finish up with this character, then we can move on to the next part. So we need to add a camera. So you're going to right click on component, either type in camera or just say camera. You're going to attach that to the actual player mesh. You're going to just drag it onto the player mesh. Then you're going to click on the camera. You're going to make sure in your details tab that this projection mode must be orthographic. Playing with the ortho width, I've found that 1500 works the best for me, which basically means that the camera is 1.5 kilometers away. But, well, I'll show you now. So what you want to do is you want to drag it up, well, drag it away, drag it up, and then you want to press E on your keyboard. That goes into your rotation mode. So now you're going to rotate it down to about 45 degrees. You can change this here, -45. Then, because what's going to happen now is we're going to compile, and if we drag this roller character on here, you'll see that it's straight on. So it's looking at it like this. So we could actually change this to about 35, move this down just a little. It doesn't really matter where you move it, forwards or backwards, but it does matter if you move it left or right. So we can close this level floor. Yes. Alright, so I'm just click closing of some tabs. Alright, play material, yes. Save it, cool. Project settings, awesome. So here we go. We can now move this camera inside the actual viewport. Let's see. Let's just get some values right. So if we move it here and here, then we can rotate it about 45 degrees as well. 45. If we press play, nothing happens still. I'll explain to you why. So 45. So our current values then are minus 1500. Sorry, on the camera itself is minus 560, minus 510. I'm just getting all these values from here, and then 550. So minus 35, 1.25. Alright, so here are our values that we want, more or less. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back into character blueprint. We're going to click on this camera. We're going to then change this to minus 560. Like I said, I'm just getting these values from here. 550, if I was correct. 550 and minus 510. Minus 510. So that will allow us to move the camera where we want. Then rotation, this is minus 45. Oops, I was wrong. Sorry. The camera here is 0. My bad. 0, minus 35, and 45. Now if we save and compile, we will then be able to move. Well, we'll be able to see the person now. But if we press play, nothing happens. So there's our ball. We're not the ball yet. What we're going to do is we're going to remove the ball from the scene. We're going to open up this roller main game mode that we created. And we're going to change this default pawn class to the roller character blueprint. Compile and save. Right tab. And then what we can do is we can actually press play. Oh, right. You're going to go to Window and make sure that your world settings are enabled. Click on world settings. Game mode override will become our roller main game mode. Save and then press play. You will then see that our ball is now actually in the game. That is cool. So this is now how the camera works. So the camera is now seeing it as a flat plane technically. It's not, you could change it. It could be like this if you wanted to. We can change it back to perspective, press play, and then it's like this. So you can have a more 3D feel. But what I'm going for is mobile. So I want to make an orthographic game, for example. So I'm going to do that. I could make a 3D game, but I'm going for a more 2D feel of the game because it's such a simple thing. You know, it's for mobile. It's just to keep you busy on the bus or in the car, wherever you are. So let's change a few more things. Let's enable pawn control. No, don't enable pawn control rotation. That's not the button. Alright, so let's change it up just a little bit. We'll change this camera's rotation to minus 25. Let's see what that does. That changes it just a little bit. That looks good. I like that. This near clip plane needs to change a little. So we'll change that to go further. Near clip plane will go even closer. Okay. So here we go. It is now no longer clipping our objects. And that's that. So let's press play here, see what happens. Alright, fantastic. We see it properly. The shadows is everything we need. Next, let's change the direction of the sun just so that I can show you the different shadow types. So what we're going to do is just change the way the actual sun is facing is actually very important. Just see, I want to find it. I'm trying to see which way it's. There we go. Okay. So now you can see the arrow is pointing down. The fact that it's actually a sun is quite cool as well because what you can do is quickly remove this from there. And then we're going to press on build. This will rebuild our shadows. We'll make it look a little bit prettier. You can always change how you're looking at the actual scene. So there we go, how the sun is looking. So this will add some shadows, and that actually looks pretty good. So we can now navigate through this little maze of ours, and then now let's add some jumping. We're going to save. We're going to go back into input graph, and if you remember, actually, let's do this. We'll select all of this and press C on your keyboard. This will let you comment stuff out. So if you comment this, you can say then movement controls. Alright, so that's the basic movement. Then we're going to do a jump. Let's quickly enable the jump. So action event, we're going to say jump. Now what we can do is we can make sure that the character can jump. So first of all, you're going to click on character movement, and you're just going to type in the search bar jump. You're going to check that this is ticked. If true, then this pawn is able of jumping. So let's change this jump velocity to be a little bit higher. Let's change it to 600, see what we can do with that. Save, and then we can continue. So now pressed. So how this is going to work is we're going to check if when we press the jump button, can we actually jump? So you're going to hold B on your keyboard and click on your blueprint. This will create a branch. So you're going to connect this pressed to the branch. The condition, if you drag this out, you just say can jump. This will check, can this character jump? Yes or no? If it can jump, great, jump. I'm going to add a little node just for later. A rewrite node just lets you add like quick, keep it there, like a little pin just to keep that pin there. Alright, so if it can jump, then jump. If true, then you want to jump. What we can also do is we can set it so if you're holding, you can actually jump for a little bit longer, so you can sort of hover a little bit. So let's see, our air control needs to change to about 0.5. Let's see, air control boost, blah blah blah, jump velocity 600, notify apex, jump water pitch. Okay, cool, can jump. Alright, that's fine. We'll leave that for now. That's going to be for a little bit later. So can jump. If false, then don't do anything. Just don't do anything, even if it's pressed. Now, when it's released, what you want to do is you want to press another branch, and then you're going to say is on, let's just see if I'm able to do it, is on ground. There we go, perfect. So the character movement is going to check, am I on the ground? Now, it doesn't make sense that if we're jumping and we're releasing jump, it's going to say, alright, am I on the ground? Yes, then do something. No, what we want to do is we actually just want to drag it from the false. So if I'm not on the ground and I'm releasing jump, then you're going to say stop, jump. Alright, you're going to keep that. Just condense your code a little bit if you want. I like to keep it a little bit nicely condensed. Let's see if this works. So we're going to press play, we're going to walk around and jump. Cool, and he stops jumping. Stops jumping, great. So now here's a wall, we can jump up on it and go. So let's change his jump a little bit more just so he looks a little bit more fluid. Save. Let's see how high that jump is at 700. Well, that's perfect. Alright, so what we want to do now is we want to have a way to actually cast a shadow onto the floor underneath us. So we're going to click on player mesh. We're going to clear this jump filter, and then you're going to look for lighting. Cast shadows, cast dynamic, static, dynamic shadow, self, no, hidden, shadow, two-sided, light is a static, light has group. Alright, so he has a, it has a shadow, but for some reason it's not rendering this shadow. So the question is now, why is it not letting a shadow be cast onto? Well, you see, what we have in here is actually, whoops, undo that. What happened? We lost the material. So what we're going to do is floor, level floor 1. Great. So what we're going to do is we're going to hold control, select all of these, and then we're going to scroll down and then convert this actor to a mesh. I'm looking for static mesh. No, don't see it. Alright, that's fine. We will then do it like this. Right click, right click. No, it's not letting us. My goodness. Oh, all these changes. Let's see, geometry, scale, apply, that scale, that's fine. Convert to actor. This should be it. Mesh. No, alright, that's fine. We'll do something about that later. So the shadows aren't too important. It's kind of actually bothering me though. Actually, wait, I know why the shadows aren't working. Because there's no shadows. What we need is this light source needs to be movable. And then we can actually cast dynamic shadows on the ball. And from the ball, usually we should be able to do it as well. We can add some stealth elements. There's actually a shadow. It's just not casting a shadow itself. Alright, that's fine. We'll figure this out. And then we'll go. Okay. No, okay. The shadow is not working right now. We'll figure that out later. So now that our character can move, we can move on to the next part of our tutorial. I'll see you guys in part 3.